or 11 Monday, and now we have with us Josh Kryzak is in studio, and he is a special guest, and they're going to talk here for a half hour about something very important here. Josh, you can take it away.
Absolutely. Thank you, TJ. Hello, everybody. I am very excited to be joined today by Dr. Norma Thomas. Just had a chance to meet with her for the first time today. She and I connected. She is one of the founders and one of the folks responsible for the Fayette County African American History and Cultural Center. You just recently celebrated your 1-year anniversary.
Yes.
And so, Dr. Thomas, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So we're here to talk about a couple of things, twofold. First, the main thing is you're going to have a Black business reception, and that's coming up just in a couple of weeks.
That is coming up on October 24th. That's a Friday from 6 to 8. And we're holding it at the East End United Community Center, which is 150 Cool Spring Street in Uniontown.
Okay. And as you said, 6 to 8, Friday, October 24th. And this reception is to celebrate local Black businesses, local Black business leaders, bring them together to network and stuff. But it's also a chance for other folks, anyone to come out and visit as well.
Oh, yes. It's open to the general public. It's not just for those businesses. We've been trying to find those businesses. Yeah. We're putting together a directory. So it's a chance, again, as you said, to network, to support, find out a little bit of information about who these businesses are, but also to bring them to light to the rest of Fayette County who may not even know of their existence. Historically, at one point, Uniontown and the surrounding community had a number of Black businesses, but many of them have disappeared. So we're trying to spark that entrepreneurial spirit again. Yeah. Here in the county.
Yeah, and I think too, it's as we said, a chance for folks to learn about these businesses that they're here, but then it's a chance for those business leaders to get to know one another and support one another.
Absolutely, and anyone who's in business knows that support is key because it's not easy running a small business.
Yeah, absolutely. So that we're going to continue to promo that throughout our half hour here, but I really want to dig into the Fayette County African American History and Cultural Center, specifically not a museum because there are old things there, but it's all about culture. It's all about learning about our shared culture, our shared history. And I think that the first that I had learned about this was last year. I was doing the live remote at our Juneteenth celebration downtown, and a man approached me with a flyer, and I was fascinated right away. So tell me how this kind of got started, and then we'll dig into what it is.
Well, we'll give you the abbreviated version because it's a long version, but I am, by profession, a clinical social worker and have been an educator for a number of years. We were talking that at one point I was at California University of Pennsylvania. But at some point in 1996, when my father died specifically, the whole idea of wanting to learn my history became very, very important. And so I started researching my own history on his side and my mother's side and realized that in the process of finding my history, I was finding a lot of other people's history in the region, history that I knew nothing about.
Wow.
And so I'm collecting all this history while I'm collecting the genealogical path of my family. And then there was a grant from the Laurel Tourism Bureau to look at whatever it was that we thought might bring some traction to the region in terms
Sure.
of attracting tourism. And so it became the impetus for the African American History Traveling Museum.
Okay.
So it became a traveling museum first. And I had all this information up on poster boards and would display it in different places around the area. And at some point, especially when I was no longer quite in the area, it became difficult to take all this material and transport it back and forth and
Sure.
back and forth.
Yeah.
And so that's when I looked for a building.
Yes.
So this could be a permanent location. And so we purposely don't call it a museum, although there are a mountain of historical documents there.
Sure.
But it's encompassing not only the history but the culture of the African American community, and so we display that. The other side piece is that in doing this research, I realized that there were elder African Americans who had their history that maybe their children didn't want to keep.
Sure.
And I would hear about collections being thrown away and destroyed.
And that's sad.
And sad beyond sad.
Yeah.
And so we are a repository for that history.
Saving it.
And
Yep.
so I have said to people, if you come across stuff and you don't want to, just throw it in the trash bags and don't even go through it. Just bring it up to
Let us take a look at
and
it.
we'll take a look at it, and what we can keep and display, we will. We'll find a home for it. But we want to make sure that history gets preserved, because otherwise it's just very, very sad.
It's lost history otherwise.
It is very, very lost, and
Yeah.
that's what happens, and why some of that history I'm trying to reconstruct.
Right. So you opened your doors officially in 2024?
Yes, we had a grand opening during that Juneteenth week.
Yes.
So as part of the Juneteenth celebration, we had been opening already because I bought the property at the end of 2023, but we did some soft things, but that was the grand opening.
Yeah, and where is the center located?
Physically, we're at 355 Connersville Street. You'll know the building because there's a bench outside that's been decorated by young people from the community center. There are bricks, pavers around the house that were decorated from children at the community center. So that's where we are located.
Awesome. So I know that some of the things I want to talk to you about too that I was specifically interested in. You can go look at this too. You can find it online. Is it at StoryJoy? Is that where the website?
StoryJoy, www.storyjoyinc.com.
Yeah.
And the African American History and Cultural Center is one of the programs of StoryJoy that my daughter and I started. And the mission of StoryJoy is just to bring the stories of marginalized communities to light.
Yeah.
So it's not just African American communities, but the broader marginalized communities that we try to bring their stories and capture that. All those stories for the general public.
Right. And one of the stories that obviously will jump right out to people right away if you visit that site is the fact that Uniontown was a part of the Underground Railroad.
Oh, absolutely. Uniontown is a significant part of the Underground Railroad. The story is that the slaves that came through what is now Route 40 would escape through a tunnel in John Wesley AME Zion Church to Baker Alley. In Baker Alley, there is a stone monument in Baker Alley to memorialize the freedom journey of people coming up that Route 40. But there's also a very large placard on Route 40 that people often don't see because it faces the street. So if you're driving, you go right by it.
Okay.
But it's by the Napa Valley Parts Store.
Sure.
But the stone monument says the same thing as that placard says, that honors the memory of those folks who made it to freedom.
Okay.
And John Wesley parishioners believe that when people made their way to freedom, the bell that used to be in the bell tower was rung. Now, there are folks that say, well, that can't happen because that building was not built until 1913, but the original church is from 1848.
Okay.
And so there are pieces of that building, if you
That
see
were
them,
there.
you can believe that it
That's right.
might be that old.
So I'm from the area, went to school at Uniontown High School. I will tell you that I've never seen that placard. So that is just so if anybody's listening, that's near Five Corners East. So right before the top of the hill there. So I'm going to definitely take a look next time I'm up there.
Yes, and I was one of those people too.
I drive right by.
That I would drive by, and one of the folks that was instrumental in getting that placard and that stone monument in Baker Alley took me to see
Yeah.
this, and I was like, I drive by this every day and never noticed it.
That's amazing.
Never noticed it.
So, in addition to the incredible heritage of the region as far as the Underground Railroad, what are some of the other things that you guys showcase at the center?
Oh, we talk about we start out by making sure people do know that this area back in the 1700s was a slave area. And so we have the history of and the census that denotes the number of slaves that were in Fayette County, and then that history that led Pennsylvania to pass the legislation that folks who were born in Pennsylvania were now free. So we talk about that history so people know that reality. We talk about the Underground Railroad. We look at issues of segregation in the region, because those of us or many people who are younger don't realize that growing up here, even when I was younger, there were places you did and did not go. So there's that history of segregation. So we talk about the cemeteries that were segregated. Clearview Cemetery, for example, is behind, it's not quite behind Lafayette School, but it's the easiest way to describe it, on Gordon Street behind Lafayette, which is 500 and some odd people, many of whom were veterans from the Civil War, the Korean War, the Spanish-American War, and that cemetery was designed as a place for African Americans who could not be buried other places, and there's 6 of those cemeteries in Fayette County. I've just discovered 2 more.
Yeah.
So that history is there, but also the magnificent sports history of this area. You can't get away with
a lot of great athletes from this area.
Well, the first Black Heisman Trophy winner, Ernie Davis, is from Uniontown.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're putting together
is it Freight Train or something? Was it Train? Something? I think Train was part of his nickname. Ernie Davis, yeah.
But we're putting together an exhibit around him, and we have so many famous African Americans from this area. That it's just you just discover more and more and more people that I didn't know were from this area, but we're very, very
connections
famous
or were here.
We've had ambassadors. Reverend Lawson, who was a mentor to Dr. Martin Luther King. His father was a pastor at John Wesley.
Wow.
He was born here.
Yeah.
I mean, the stories go on and on and on and on. A lot of firsts in this area. So we try to document as much as we can, and that's what we're trying to do, is bring out that hidden history that folks don't know about. We do a walking tour periodically on the east end of Uniontown.
Yeah.
Because folks don't know about the history of just the East End.
One of the things that I really enjoyed, I got to cover Juneteenth again this year, and really feel that's important, is that we recognize that it's a shared history for all of us from here, and that it's important to know it, understand it, recognize it, realize all the great things that happen, but also all the bad things that happen too, because like it or not, it is our shared history, and we still live here together, we still work together. And the more you know, the better you can be informed moving forward. So things like this center really give people the opportunity to learn about what was done wrong, what didn't work, but what was great too, all those things through it, because it's all part of it.
And what I like people to understand is, as much as I want African Americans to know their own history, I want everybody else to know the history too.
Sure.
So it's not it's called the African American History and Cultural Center, but we welcome everyone, and I want everybody to come in and know this history, because people are amazed.
It's awesome
and that's what people look around and they're just,
Yeah.
we didn't know.
It's a legacy there that people were unaware of, and I think that that's really what you guys helped to bring about. So, but we still have a good bit of time, but I want to come back around to what we're here for. This is Dr. Norma Thomas. She's one of the founders of the Fayette County African American History and Cultural Center. The center is going to be hosting a Black Business Reception on Friday, October 24th, from 6 to 8 p.m. at the East End United Community Center at 150 Cool Springs Street in Uniontown. It's a free event. It's going to give a chance for Black business owners to come together, network, get to know one another, support one another, and for the community to come out and learn about these businesses and to be able to support them as well. Is this something that's continuing to grow for you? Are you seeing more and more Black businesses, or was it stagnant, or how's that?
Well, again, historically, I don't remember so much, but I'm aware of the fact that there were a number of African American businesses in the area when I was growing up, because my dad was one of them. He had an auto body shop.
Okay.
But the more I talk to people, they always say, "Don't you remember all the, this shop and that shop and this store and that store?" And it's like, "Oh yeah, I do remember." And those businesses have gone away. So it became, imperative for me to try to find who is existing now and what kind of businesses. So we've got photography businesses, home health businesses, food businesses, beauty barber shops, gift shops, candle making, all kinds of businesses.
Sure.
And are there huge numbers? No, but a number of consulting businesses. And so also, if you're listening and you haven't been contacted by me yet, contact me.
How can they get in touch with you?
I'll give you several ways. One email is storyjoy, STORYJOYINC at gmail.com. So you can do that way. You can get me at Norma Thomas, norma.thomas13 at gmail.com. So that's 2 email addresses. You can give me a call, leave a message, 215-880-4718, because I'll be honest, if I don't recognize your number, I might not pick up the phone. So,
you can leave a message.
So leave a message.
We all do that.
The www.storyjoyinc.com. We also have the ability to contact us there.
Yep.
And one of the things you'll find on that website, because there's a number of programs Story Joy does, but one of them is something called Generational Archives. And Generational Archives is our telling of stories. So we started out telling the story related to family, and we blossomed into expanding and having some guest speakers and more stories. Haven't done any recently, but we're about to get back and start, I think, season 3. So if you want to know more about African American history in the region, you can always, we're on Spotify, we're, as my daughter says, we're on all the things.
Yeah, I like that. That's right.
We're on all the things with the podcast. And you can hear about the Underground Railroad and the history of the cemeteries and the civil rights struggle in the area, and many discussions, family. But when we talk about family, we always say, even if we're talking about our family, it gives people an idea of how to explore their own family roots. And so we get a number of people who contact us that say, because of your story, I went back and asked information about our family.
Yeah.
And we're now trying to put together the archives for our family. And that's a big thing of what we wanted people to do, is to start exploring their own history and their own roots.
Yeah.
It's not always the easiest discussions.
No, you learn a lot.
You find joy and you find some pain, but, all of it is part of who you are. So, explore those stories.
Yeah, absolutely. We want you to explore those stories. In addition to all the ways that Dr. Thomas shared that you can get in touch with her, you can always reach out to WMBS here too, and we will make sure and connect you if you're a local business owner that wants to be a part of this event on the 24th. So we talked about that. We talked about the Underground Railroad. Now, you mentioned Pastor Lawson being kind of a mentor to Dr. King. Mm-hmm. Tell me a little bit about, and I imagine there's probably stuff in there that covers it as well. What was this area like during the 1950s, 1960s? I imagine, based on the things that I know, it seemed like there was some conflict. It might not have been quite the level that you saw in Alabama and places like that, but there seemed like there was some challenges. As
there were challenges. And I was young in the 1950s, but because I was born in 53. But my mother was very, 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 very active at everything that was going on in the area. There was a major civil rights presence here, and there was the Uniontown NAACP and the Brownsville NAACP, which is now the Fayette County NAACP, who was in the thick of advocating for rights of African Americans in the region. I mean, there were places that, and I didn't have this experience, but people older than me would talk about places that you could not eat at the lunch counter. And we think of that as being Southern.
You do.
But that was here.
That's what I was thinking, that just based on some anecdotal stuff I've heard.
Yes, you could
that's
not,
the kind of stuff I've heard that
you could
potentially
not eat at the
here.
lunch counter. You could not sit in the bottom of the movie theaters. You had to sit up, and they either called it the peanut gallery or peanut heaven. And so you had to, that was not my experience, but that was the experience of people older than me.
Right.
You could not swim in the swimming establishments until after Labor Day, when they stopped cleaning the pool.
Oh, my.
And I thought I made that up in my head. I really did think that somehow.
Well, you hoped maybe.
I knew that story, but I was like, is that really true? And then I read almost the exact thing that I just said was quoted in a book called Caste. And
I know that book.
Yes.
That's a very, very important book if you want to learn more about this topic broadly across our nation. And again, our shared history that has a lot of bad, but also gets us to where we are today and in a lot of understanding. Cass is a good book.
Yes. And they don't name the swimming establishment, but when they said it and it was outside Pittsburgh, I knew.
You knew.
I knew where they were talking about.
Yeah.
There were places that we went on certain days and white people went on another day. I mean, it was just, so there was a flavor of it wasn't codified in law like it was in the South. But,
sure.
But here it was
expected.
Kind of the way of being. And so periodically, we can't ignore the fact that we've got a Ku Klux Klan history that raises itself when there is adversity out there. So during the Civil Rights Movement, it was there.
Yes.
The 30s and 40s, the 30s in particular, 20s, Uniontown was one of the premier areas in this region for Klan activity, and then it kind of died out and it comes back again. In the 80s it came back again, so it's all there, but there's so much positivity to again talk about too, so you can't ignore one.
Right. That's right.
The other is, despite all that, in a way, despite all of that, there's just so many areas where people have accomplished so much, and that part is missing.
Yes.
That people, they know about a few people, but like Harold Better's Mr. Trombone.
I know Harold Benner.
But there's a number of Harold Betters.
Sure, that's the name I know. So yeah.
there we know a few sports figures, but I can't even count the number of famous sports people that came out of this area.
Yeah.
There's the first drum major. There's there's so many firsts here.
Yes.
That people don't know about, that we want to, and we're discovering them. Every now and then I get one of these emails from somebody and they'll say, oh, they were from this place. And I said, well, that's Fayette County.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I never heard of that before.
Yeah.
And so, again, that's what we're trying to bring out.
Sure.
This incredible history of accomplishment,
Yeah.
despite adversity.
That's right. I think too, and some of that legacy, you can see it today. I'll give an example. One Voice, One Community is a local resource, and what you look at, you wouldn't have even thought was possible in the 1950s or 60s. You have two local leaders in the area, Aaron Zolbrod and Terry Vassar. One is a white man and one is a black man. Both of them are extremely well respected. They've come together and created something wonderful for kids, and I think those are the kind of things too that are, I mean, culture and history, it's being created right now. So that's the next step in our building block.
Well, for example, the East End United Community Center, the United is in that name because it was born out of protest when they tried to, and did, eventually close the East End School, and the black community erupted. And so there were protests all over the place about closing that school. And so finally, when all of that was settled and the East End United Community was created in that decommissioned school, the United was very important.
Absolutely.
For, because sometimes people just call it the East End, but it's the EEUCC, and it's the United that exemplifies how the community finally was able to come together to create something amazing.
Right, and that's why those shared stories, there can be pain there, but like you said, there can be joy too, and that's something, again, a good reflection of the area, and shows some of the steps that have been made. Obviously, more steps to continue to get to the most perfect place where we all dream of being someday. But again, just so to update our listeners, if you're just joining us, for about 5 more minutes, we're going to be talking with Dr. Norma Thomas. She's one of the founders of the Fayette County African American History and Cultural Center, and they are going to be hosting a Black business reception at the East End United Community Center at 150 Cool Spring Street in Uniontown on October 24th from 6 to 8. It is open to the public. There's going to be fun stuff there too, some door prizes, basket giveaways, that kind of stuff.
Food always works. Yeah. And again, an opportunity to network. I've got the baskets created already.
I like it.
And those baskets are, door prizes free.
Sure.
So it should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and if you can get to that, great. But if you can't get to that, you can go visit the Fayette County African American History and Cultural Center, and you said that that's right on Connellsville Street.
355. Unfortunately, we don't have what I would like to have, and that's totally regular hours. But if you, there is a Facebook site, so you can connect with us on Facebook. And when we're opening, I let people know that we're in the area where soon we are going to have someone who's volunteering to open the center on a regular basis. That person happens to be related to me, so I won't put him out there yet, but he's going to keep the regular hours at the center so that we can start publicizing a more regular schedule.
Right.
But we're on Facebook. You can look us up, the African American History and Cultural Center, and I post when we're going to be open. We will be open the day after this business reception, so on the 25th, which is that Saturday, we'll be open from 2 to 5. There
you go.
So you can come by and see us and just walk in. There's, we'll be there.
Yeah, and there's no shortage of stuff to look at and review yourself. But again, as Dr. Norma said, she will be there as well. She is a fountain of knowledge. She's got a lot to say and a lot of interesting things. And there's no, I think that I'm going to speak for you, but there's really no wrong questions to come in and ask.
No,
if you're
ask.
interested, concerned, you have thoughts, you want to know. It's part of, again, a part of our shared heritage.
Yeah, someone asked me once, were white people welcome? And I was like, I'm not sure where that came from, but
Right.
absolutely,
Right.
please come to the center, please. We have lots of information that I'm willing to share. We'll send it to you,
Right.
give you copies of information, because we are discovering like you may be discovering. And I'm always open to getting new information because I don't know everything about what went before me in this area.
Right.
So it's great.
So, as you said, your background was social work, but you've really become basically a historian as well.
Yes. And I was always the person in my family who paid attention to the stories.
Yeah.
And so my siblings don't know half the stories that I know because somehow they didn't hear the same stories. And so I've always captured people's stories, and that was an interest of mine. And we've been able to bring it to fruition not only with Generational Archives, which is capturing stories, but now actually physically capturing the history of the African American community in this area.
Yeah, and I think that's an experience and something that most people can't necessarily relate to. Maybe they can in today's world to some degree, but that historical stuff, if you have a chance to see it, feel it, touch it, hear it, that's going to change your perspective.
And I'm also under contract. I'm writing a book about the African American history of Fayette County.
That's exciting.
So I am learning more and more. For example, I thought there were only 4 African American cemeteries in Fayette County. There are 6.
Right.
And who knows, there may be more.
There might be.
And I was running around 2 weeks ago taking pictures of cemeteries that I had never been to because I had never heard of these places.
Yeah.
So I'm in Edenbourne, I'm in Brownsville,
Yes.
I'm all over the place. So our history is being discovered.
Yeah, that's exciting. So I know we got just about a minute left. The book, can you share any details there? Is that
Only it's someone visited the center and said you should write a book.
so that's how it came about?
And I said, no. And then I said, well, okay, I have all this information, and now we might want to put it in a book. And so that's what I've been doing, pulling together that historical information from starting with the Underground Railroad and the Underground Railroad not only here but in Fayette County.
Right.
Now going to broaden about the history of segregation in this area. And then we'll be talking about the famous people in this area and other aspects of African American history in Fayette County. So we'll see where it takes us.
Very fascinating. Dr. Norma Thomas, I appreciate you joining me.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. You've been listening to Dr. Norma Thomas. She shared all about the Fayette County African American History and Cultural Center. They have a Black Business Reception coming up at the East End United Community Center on Friday, October 24th from 6 to 8.
And this is WMBS Uniontown at 12 o'clock.
News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Steve Kaif, and President Trump says a long and painful nightmare is finally over.